Okay, with the Fernando Broce, the short filmmaker, Latino Film Festival, the title of your short film, is it OAG? Is that how I pronounce it?
OJUE.
Sorry?
It's pronounced OJUE.
Okay. Because there was different pronunciations. I was actually studying it. There's different pronunciations online, and there's like four different versions of it. But
Yeah,
that's how you pronounce it?
the thing is also that it's actually a scream. It's a Panamanian scream, so it doesn't have any specific way of being pronounced or written. But OJUE is the most popular way of writing it,
Okay.
so that's the way of writing it for the title that I chose.
And what's the definition of it? What's the definition of that word?
OJUE doesn't have any specific definition. It's more of a salute that people do in the countryside in Panama. It's a way of saying hi, like we call it a scream. So it's just a sound that people from the Panamanian countryside do when they're happy, when they want to greet each other in the street, when they're celebrating something. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so your film is about like it's really a love story between a mother a daughter and her dad.
Yeah.
And it's really about culture as well, right? So, but you live in Los Angeles, but did you film it in Panama?
Yeah, I went to Panama last year on August to film this short film. I wanted for it to be a combination between her relationship with both her country and also her dad, which is like a representation. Like for me, somehow both her dad and her culture represents the same obstacle for her, which is at the end her own identity. So yeah, it's like a love story of her with who she is, with who is her dad, and with where she comes from. It's
Well, it
yeah.
makes sense, right? Her patriarch, it's her father, and her father defines her who she is, and she's got conflict with her culture, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
And where does there's like you obviously you're a male, but you're the it's a female kind of story, but it seems very personal at the same time. Like it seems like you kind of the themes in the film are very common, like way it's sort of like you're kind of what you're feeling as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. I actually got asked before, like, why is the protagonist a woman? If there's any specific reason for it to be a woman, but I think that it's just that because this is such a personal story, it's inspired on my own relationship with my own father when I was a child. I just didn't want it to to make the protagonist a boy because I feel that if I made it a boy, it would be like too straightforward on the fact that it was me and my father. So I just wanted to to change some aspects of the story to feel more comfortable showing it to my dad and being in front of him while watching the short film.
And so did you show it to your dad?
Yeah, he's in the cast. He's playing the younger version of the protagonist, and the protagonist of the story is my grandpa.
Oh wow. Okay. Let's talk about the casting for a second because you have two versions, you have two generations of the same cast. You had to cast different actors because did you ever think about have them play the same version in the timeline and kind of change their makeup, or did you always want two different actors playing the same role?
I've always want two different actors playing the same role because I really want. The thing is that I feel most of my characters are based on people that I know. In this case, all of the character that is played by my grandpa is inspired on my grandpa, and his younger version is inspired on my dad and my grandpa, and my dad has very similar personalities. So I did wanted both of them to play their own personas in the short film, and then for I feel that there's a lot of authenticity when the when your actor is as close to the character as you can. Like I even like for the rest of the characters of the cast, really like these are all people that I've known from before, and their personalities in real life, they really are similar to their characters. So I really like that organic approach to acting. Yeah, so yeah.
So tell me about how the let's talk about the female the daughter role. Two different roles. Like who did you cast first? The older one or the younger one?
So I actually had to like the auditions for both roles at the same time, and one would determine the other. Like I had my options for the cast in pairs. like these two looks alike, so I'm gonna make the auditions for these two, these two, these two, these two. And then if the option of for the older character would be very good, then I would start consider more the younger version. Or if this version for the younger character is very good, then I can work with this protagonist. But thanks God, I found this match of this actress for the oldest character like 2 weeks before the shoot date. And then she was so good that I started looking just for someone in Panama that looked very similar like her. And I matched with this woman that I have been actually working before with this acting student in Panama that fortunately also looks like the main like her older version. So everything aligned very properly. I even auditioned a lot of pairs of moms and daughters to still find like these two generations that look similar to play the same character.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like it was, but then your dad, you said your dad played the male.
My
So
my
you
grandpa plays the older version, like the my grandpa plays the dad
dementia.
of the protagonist,
Yeah,
and my dad plays his younger version.
that's amazing. And they acted before? Are they actors?
No, 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 no. This is both of their first time in camera. I told my crew in the case of my grandpa, please, everyone don't treat him as if he's the protagonist of this story, because if he realizes that all of us are here to record him, he's gonna freak out. So everyone was like we pretended that he was like another crew member, if he for it to be more of a subtle experience, like because he was just essentially playing himself. I really was trying to make it as organic and like not as a special of an experience as it could be. I just wanted for it to be like very subtle, very grandpa, come here, do this, record, action. And then we
Yeah.
would do it. Very natural.
So there's three generations on like in the film, like three generate like that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, thank you. No, the casting process was very very fun, and everything had to be done from the distance. I did my pre-production in Los Angeles, and then I went to shoot 3 weeks before the shoot days. So then all of the casting process I did it on my own with Instagram. I started following all of the Panamanian theater clubs, all of the Panamanian production companies, and I would go from Instagram page to Instagram page until I found these matches, and I would text everyone to see who wanted to audition.
That's amazing because you have a lot of cast in the film. Like you have like the even the the two kind of worlds, right? You have the family, and then you have the art show, which
Yeah,
like you have her assistant, and you have like other characters. Like there's a huge cast here for a 13-minute film.
yeah, yeah. When I write, I usually don't. I never write on a budget. I just write like a lot, and then I see what I can get. But Panamanian people were like, I'm from Panama. I worked in Panama several years before coming here. And then I had thanks God, this very good network of people and friends that wanted to be part of the project. And a lot of people helped me with the project. So it was it made it possible. How excited were Panamanian people to tell a story about Panama and a short film about the Panamanian culture. So a lot of people wanted to volunteer. A lot of people wanted to be to participate on it. So that really made it happen. The amount of cast that we had, we had some scenes with 75 people from a marching band,
Yeah.
with 50 people dancing in the streets of Panama. All of these people being volunteers. For the dancing scenes in the streets, these women have to get into the Panamanian skirt traditional costume, which takes around 2 hours to get dressed, and we had like 30 women going through this 2 hours process. So it was all like a very very huge collaborative effort.
So in its I'm being very basic here. So in its present time, you have your color template is very white, right? You have a very white color template. And then in the past, it's very colorful, right? Everybody's wearing colorful clothing. There's lots of movement, right? There's lots of action. And then in present time, it's very like stale, even though it's an art show, it's very stale and white.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that was done on purpose.
yeah. I wanted to represent mainly her lack of identity. For me, the whole thing is that she doesn't know who she is. She's very Panamanian until, but she doesn't realize it, because she thinks that there's just one way of being Panamanian. Like she doesn't know. She's a little lost on who she is. So there's a lack of self identity in there. So I was looking for white for me represents the lack of color. In this short film at least. So then, if there's a lack of color, there's a lack of identity, and then we go to the past where there's a lot of color, especially hers. Like all of her outfits were green and purple, like very very
Yeah,
weird offsetting tones. And then, actually, also another thing that we wanted to do with the colors, everyone in the flashback scenes, she's the only one wearing purple and green, and no one else in the story wears purple and green. In the past, everyone else wears like more cool tones, because even when she was full of color, she was very different to her own people.
yeah.
Eh, and now she's finally similar to everyone, but everyone is white, because if everyone is the same, then there's no color.
Everybody's the same. There is no, yeah. And so it's sort of funny where like it's like she's in this outfit. You like feet too, right? You show a lot of feet in this film.
I think that it just fit for me was like a very easy way of doing the transitions. I'm an editor, so when knowing that at the end of the movie I was gonna have a lot of transitions between feet and hands, I wanted to integrate that concept since the beginning of the film. Like I didn't want it for the close-ups to the feet being just for transitions at the end of the movie. So I
Yeah.
decided for the first movie, for the first scene is all covered by shots of their feet and their hands, because I also just wanted, first I didn't want it to tell the audience who to start with a close-up of the face of the characters, because I wanted to don't give too much information so early in the short film. And then also it's just that I wanted for, like, to start with a little statement of like, this could be any pair of parent, like any pair of parent and daughter, like just by seeing the anxiety of her hands and the shaking of her legs, and then the calmness of his feet and the calmness of his hands playing with himself, we
Yeah.
understand what is happening, and we don't have to see any face.
Dancing too, right? Like it's about the culture of dancing, right? Like
We dance a lot in Panama. We have a lot of excuses to party around the year, and then a lot of festivals. So that really had to be a part of the short film.
yeah, it's fantastic. Very like this it seems like such an ambitious short film and you pulled it off. Like there's because there's all the transition where you when you're editing, like there's you doing all these kind of cross cutting and she's like it's from her point of view, present time point of view. It's like what she remembers, right? What she
Yeah,
sees in front of her, what she remembers in the past. So it's all from her kind of point of view. But
yeah,
still, it's like you're like you got to make sure the audience is still kind of understands where we are, right?
yeah,
In the timeline in the
yeah.
film.
And all of that comes since the script. Like my script is 17 pages and 70 sitting headings,
Yeah,
because as I told you, I'm an editor, so when I write, I edit essentially. So each most of those cuts that you see in my short film,
yeah.
those 30 cuts in the last 2 minutes of my short film, those are 30 scene headings in my script, because I needed to have everything calculated, especially also trying to visualize it in my head, and really, like, if it plays in my head and it makes sense, it should make sense when I record it and put it on a screen. Like if I can understand it, then someone else should be able to understand it. And then of course, because it's such a confusing script to read, as you can like imagine reading this on paper, then I just, with my team and everyone, I just had to be very clear on my way of directing. I storyboarded every single shot that we see in the short film is storyboarded, so everyone in my crew could understand. Unfortunately, because it was a student short film, I didn't have the funds to pay them like what they're usually used to.
Yeah.
So I had to find all of the ways from my seat as a director to make their job a little easier. Like I couldn't expect them to get in all of the technicalities of like this hand movement is going here and then this one is going here and this transition is going here. Like I was the one on set that really had the responsibility to keep track of all of this, because I knew that I was the one that actually had the the responsibility of like having all him, and everyone else like was helping as much as they could. But at the end of the day, it was a very challenging story to tell. Yeah.
So so you did this at New York Film Academy, correct?
Yes. Yes. This is my thesis from
Your
my.
thesis film.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you something. I went to that school, but I went to
Oh.
you went to LA, right? The LA New York Film
Yes. Yes.
Academy. So I
Yes.
went to New York. This is
Wow.
this is 26 years ago, right?
Uh,
So you can figure out how old I am by me saying that. But basically, but it would be impossible to make the film that you made 26 years ago at New York Film Academy. This is a full-fledged professional short film. And I know, like you said, you didn't have that much money, but there's still money in this film. You can tell, right? Like
yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
pretty, like, not to mention a pretty good crew, I'm assuming.
Yes, 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 yes. All of these people are industry-based people in Panama, and we had the support of a lot of we had the support of a lot of companies and people that wanted to be part of the project. The Panama Canal was one of the sponsors of the project. That's why we have a scene in the Panama Canal. McDonald's Panama was another sponsor of the short film. That's also why we have a scene in a McDonald's. The art gallery is actually the Panamanian the Panama Canal Museum. So yeah, a lot of these institutions at the end of the day, because it also was a story that was about Panama, and there haven't been any like many short films or movies that portray our culture. Like a lot of people were very excited about telling it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's so good to hear. And did you edit the film yourself too?
Yes, 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 yes. I edited it, and then the sound design was done by an amazing sound designer in Colombia, and then was made here the color was here in Los Angeles. But yeah, everything about the edit was on my end.
But was the crew like from New York Film Academy?
No, no, no. The only person from the crew that was from the New York Film Academy was my producer. I
Yeah.
had a producer in Los Angeles and a producer in Panama. And then my producer from Los Angeles, my classmate, she was able to come with me to Panama to shoot the short film.
So
Because
she
everything
came with you.
yeah, everything had to be translated. Like the permits from Panama needed to be translated for the New Film Academy to know what was happening with a student production in Panama, you
Yeah.
know. So I fly my friend. So she was running around Panama with 70 cast deal memos with for all of the extras, so the New Film Academy could see what was happening like with these students. And but we needed someone to be able to like translate not just in language but also in a in the technicalities that the school wanted us to give our producing documents.
How long is the flight to get to Panama?
6 hours,
6 hours?
6 or 7, yeah, six
Oh,
or
okay,
seven.
so it's not that bad. You just figure you see it like it's so down. It's like down, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
hot. It's hot there. One would assume.
it's very hot, very humid. My classmate was dying. Yeah, it's a very harsh conditions.
And then, so what's your plan for the? Are you going to stay in Los Angeles?
So this year I'm on my OPT, which is 1 year where we can practice from what we graduated on college. So this whole year I've been just working as an editor and also as a production designer. And then I'm gonna see what opportunities come this year to see if I can if I can keep working here in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense that you can work as a production designer because this is a pretty solid film in terms of the production design, the costumes, everything, all the color palette makes
Thank
sense.
you.
So yeah, I hope you're proud. It's a pretty like it's a gutsy film and you pulled it off.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm gonna sleep very happy tonight with these comments.
And it's funny too. It's like there's like I know it's like it's dramatically like between the like the story between but the dad's like over the top kind of like corny, but it's funny. Like it's a funny film.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's my grandpa is very much like that. So it was very easy to to pull it off from his
Have they
side.
seen the film, your grandparents and your dad?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do they
Eh,
think?
everyone is like the most comments that I have received is like everyone is very amazed by my grandpa. Like we really didn't expect it. I really thought that I was gonna have to work way harder on his acting, but my grandpa really like being his own person in front of the camera really worked. There's this scene at the end of the movie where where he throws lines and all of those were improvised. I didn't tell him to say anything, but I just said action and then he started speaking. Like I told him what was going on in the scene, then I said action and then he started like giving a whole monologue on like improvised monologue on the spot, and some of the extras actually started crying out of what he was saying. Like I couldn't put everything on the cut, but I just also in moments like that I decided to not cut. I just wanted to let the camera be, let my grandpa be, and then in editing I would see like what could be used and what couldn't.
So on your Film Freeway submission, it says that you're a first time filmmaker, but that's not totally true because you've done a lot of content creating, right? For like advertising and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, in Panama. In
In
Panama,
Panama.
this is my first film festival run. This is my first short film that I am actually putting out there as a director. The other things have been works in commercials and marketing in Panama.
But you know how to make, you know how to tell a story, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is my thesis, so hopefully, because this was my thesis film, I like,
But
yeah,
you're
I feel
so
passionate
young too.
about it.
Like it seems like you've already accomplished so much at such a young age.
Thank you, thank you.
When are you gonna make another film? One would assume.
Yeah, I'm writing. I started writing my first feature film. I'm working on it. I feel that this first short film that was a this first like big short film was a love letter to my country. So I want my next short film to be a love letter to my family. I want to keep it close because I feel that in like the more you know about what you write, the better you're gonna write. And I really know my family members, so having inspiration from them is gonna be very easy. And it's just very my writing process is always very intimate with with what is happening to me and who I am and what I'm feeling. So I want to for a future film, which is a very long thing to write, I want to write a lot about something that I know a lot about.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I wish you the ultimate best. Let's keep in touch because I'd love to see what you do next. You're
Thank you.
definitely a director on its way. So make sure you keep at it and just keep making movies. Keep
Thank you
learning
so
the craft.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's talk soon.
Bye.